So this is the video of the tombs of Amenmesse KV10 and Seti II KV15. Now I've put them both together because Amenmesse usurped Seti from Waset for 3 to 4 years, and I'm interested in the physical properties of the tombs. The KV10 tomb is 67 to 68 meters long. Wow, that's amazing. You know, he only ruled Egypt, or that part of Egypt, supposedly for 3 to 4 years. How is that possible to do that? Or was this tomb originally meant for somebody else? And the work started at the beginning of Seti II's reign, and then when Amenmesse usurped that part of Egypt, Waset, he continued having the tomb cut. We're not going to quite know for sure. KV10 was usurped later in history, in the 20th dynasty. The tomb was also shared with Queen Waset Kush. She was the great royal wife of Ramesses IX. Queen Takat of the 20th dynasty was buried in this tomb. She was the mother of Ramesses IX. Now, if you think that Amenmesse ruled Egypt for 3 to 4 years, that means that the workforce was working at 20 meters to 25 meters a year, including the decoration. Wow, how was that possible? So if we have a look at the tomb plan of KV10, it's a descending passageway which opens up into the burial chamber. But I know it's soft shale, but wow, 20 to 25 meters a year plus decoration. Makes you think. Now let's have a look at Seti II's tomb, KV15. It's 68 meters long. He ruled Egypt for 6 years. Before those years, he was usurped by Amenmesse. So really, there's only 2 years of progress on this tomb before he's usurped. Did Amenmesse allow the tomb builders to carry on? Well, we know that Amenmesse killed the chief foreman at Della Medina, the workers' village, and appointed a new foreman. So again, this is one of those mysteries. The question has to be asked, so did Amenmesse decide, right, I'm not going to allow Seti II have this tomb, but I will allow it to be cut, and maybe I'll give it to my supporters, who was the high priest of Amun and the viceroy of Kush. Because when Seti II finally regained control of Waset, the first thing he did was had these 2 guys killed. These were the supporters of Amenmesse, and maybe one of them, those guys, were hoping to get this tomb. Maybe that's why the work continued. But it's highly unlikely that you're going to cut a 68 meter tomb in 2 years. Now we're talking about 10 to 20 meters a year to produce a tomb nearly 70 meters long. Wow, it's just mind-blowing. So you cut it, you plaster the walls, then the walls have to be carved to give you a bas-relief effect, and then it's got to be painted, then all covered up, and you start cutting again. Wow. Now, what's interesting are the reliefs inside Seti II's tomb. There are many books of the dead in Seti II's tomb, but the one I want to focus on is the Litanry of Ra. As you walk into the tomb, on the right and left hand side, Ra Harakti, which is the form of Ra as a falcon, greets Seti II. On the other side of the tomb is the greeting of the king's spirit. You have to remember that this isn't the physical body of Seti, this is his Ka spirit entering his tomb. So these tomb pictures are telling a story, and if you know how to read the story, it's wonderful. Again, that's why I wanted to study the ancient Egyptians, because they are such a magical people. Then we can see the goddess Ma'at, who represents balance, order, greeting Seti II. See Seti worshipping Ra as the aged old ram and the Khepra. The Khepra was supposedly an invisible beetle in the sky that pushed the sun god across the sky each day, and it represented everlasting life. Wow. Look at the bas relief of the craftsman. So what they've done is they've cut them, plastered the tomb, let that gypsum plaster dry, then they carved out all those images, carved them. I know it's only soft plaster, but you still got to have skill to draw the lines, to carve it beautifully. Then once that's done, the artisans go in and paint everything. Just mind-blowing. Talking about 3,000 years ago. Then we see the mourners, which forms part of the funeral. So that's recorded in these tombs. The magical spells that you needed to get you through the underworld. The fan bearers, who are escorting the funeral mourners to the tomb. Remember, the next living Horus has got to bury his predecessor before he can become the living Horus, the ruler of Egypt. Now we've got the images of what Seti tried to achieve in his life. He is the good shepherd. He is the good shepherd looking after his flock, who are the Egyptian people, and he's holding the crook. Seti is the good herdsman. He's holding the flail. These are the two symbols of royal power and rule over the land of Egypt and the people. Look at the ceiling. Can you see the wings of that bird flying down the corridor? The reason why it's repeated is because it wants the viewer, who is Seti's spirit, to see the vulture goddess flying down that hallway. She is Nekhebet. Nekhebet is the design on the Nemes headcloth that you saw on Tutankhamun. She is there flying over the king, ready to warn him of his enemies. That's what those wings are. Wow, mind-blowing. Now we can see a picture of Seti's uncorrupted body. So all the bodies had to be mummified, and you needed the shell of your body for your spirit to re-enter during the times of daylight and sleep inside the body again, to be rejuvenated for the next journey into the nighttime sky. His coffin being brought into the tomb, and then it's lowered into the underworld, because just like Ra, Seti has to go into the underworld and repeat the journey that the sun god makes every night. So the Egyptians explained the disappearance of Ra by saying that he travelled in the underworld, and he would have to go through those gateways, and then at the end of the journey he would be reborn at the beginning of each day. Oh, isn't that so beautiful? Have a look at the anthropoid coffin. Well, it's not a coffin, it's a sarcophagus. It's made out of stone. If it's made out of stone, it's a sarcophagus. If it's made out of wood, it's a coffin. Get that right. So remember, the anthropoid design only comes from Waset. It doesn't come from any other town in Egypt. Remember, during the first intermediate period, when they couldn't get wood from Byblos, because Middle Egypt was ruled by offshoot kings, and Waset was under the control of powerful nomarchs, they couldn't get wood. So they cut down date palm trees, scooped out the fibres and cut the image of the deceased person on the outside of the date palm tree and used those as coffins. So that was the anthropoid design, how it originated. And it was traditional for 1,000 years in Waset to have an anthropoid coffin or an anthropoid sarcophagus. So that's why you've got this beautiful anthropoid sarcophagus. So in the liturgy of Ra, you see Ra as the aged old ram, and he's making that journey into the underworld. And as you can see, he's reborn at the beginning of each day. He's that red solar disk coming out of the mouth of the goddess Geb. Wow. Once you got through the underworld, you then had to make your confession to Osiris. So you made offerings to Osiris and you made your confession. Obviously, Seti II spent a lot of time in the north, and he probably visited the old capital of Memphis, because there's also offerings being made to Ptah. Ptah was the god of Memphis, of rejuvenation and growth and fertility, which is why he's always got a green face. So probably that's why he's included in the tomb. Once Osiris accepts your confession, so you've gone through the underworld, you've had your heart weighed against the feather of Mart, you go before Osiris, you make your confession, then you are reborn. And the rebirth signs is the Khepra, black Khepra, and above it would be the red solar disk representing the spirit, the reborn spirit rising to the afterlife through the duat to be with the gods. Just gets you, doesn't it? Gets me. Anyway, so that's the two tombs covered. I hope it's been enjoyable. I hope you've learned something from this. I learned something from tomb design and paintings, and how they dug them out, and the different spells that they used in these different tombs each time. Please encourage your friends to visit the channel and view these videos. Press subscribe, like the videos if you want to. Please leave comments anything that you think I can do to improve the videos. This is a learning curve, remember. I'm trying to make better videos all the time. And take care. I'll see you soon. Bye for now.